Hey, good morning. This is a demo video for Phillip, Spencer, and John. All of you guys have these Darkness V3s by SP Sabers and Props and Phoenix Props. So I've got one here, I've got another one right here, and I've got one more right here. Because they are all installed identically, I'm just going to crack open one and go over it because they're all the same, right? Yeah, so I'm just going to crack open one. We'll go through it. They are also all missing the button. There's a button right here. You can see the magnet that I went ahead and I glued in it. There's two magnets there. One gets glued to the tactile switch that I'll show here in a second. The other gets glued to the actual button that is missing. I reached out to Sean this morning. I didn't realize until this morning that it was missing because it's one of the last things that I do. It's probably the last thing I do. I go through and I put this wire on, and I glue the magnet to the switches. But the switches are missing. I reached out to him. He is going to express mail the switches to each one of you. All right, so I went ahead and I took care of that. Sean should be getting a hold of you, and if he doesn't, you can get a hold of him because he knows that these are missing. Okay, not much I could do about that, so apologies for that. This particular saber belongs to Phillip. I chose to go ahead and do this because he did ask me to re-drill and tap a blade retention screw for his main blade, so I went ahead and I did that there. I did that on the back because you already have your blade retentions over here for your side blades and then your main blade as well. And Phillip, as you know, the side blades did not come with your kit, so I think you ordered some from Etsy that are coming my way. I'll go ahead and I'll install them and I'll send them your way. All right, so for now, I have a 7/8 inch blade that I'll try to put in here and show you that it fires up on each side. It's going to be kind of a weird demo, but this is just to show you functionality. And then I'll put my 1-inch blade here in the main chamber so that you can see that fires up as well. But anyway, they are all installed with CC Sabers lit NeoPixel connectors. So one in the main chamber and then of course one in each of the quillions. All right. You got this red wire here. Now on Phillips, I did cut it right here. You can just pull it out right here. I didn't cut it on the other two, right? So if you want to do that, you can. I typically cut it here so that I can throw it in that clip right there and it looks like it's not been cut. But when you want to take the handle off, you can just pop this up and it makes it easier because this does have to be broken down. All right, so when we take that clip out, what we want to do is come through and we want to take these 3 screws out. So you got one here, and you've got one more right here. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll take all these out. It doesn't matter how you take them off. It does matter how you put them back on though. I've probably done now 11 or 12 of these maybe, and have found that it's pretty consistent if you put them on a certain way. It helps with your auxiliary button, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. All right, but first we want to take all 3 of these off. I have batteries in all of these. I'm going to leave the batteries in them and just ship them with the batteries. All right, so you all have 21700 removable batteries. But when you take all of those off, you can slide your handle off just like that. Be careful though, because when you take those screws off, this shroud is now free floating and it comes right off as well. All right, so you got to watch out for that. But when you take all that off, this is what you've got. Your chassis is right here. Of course, your Proffie boards, all of them have Proffies. Kill switches right here. You have removable 21700 batteries. These are keep powers, even though you can't see the label, but the label's inside. You can almost see it right there, right? All of these have keep powers. They all have 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speakers. What else do we got? That's pretty much it for the chassis. This is I made this the auxiliary button because this is underneath a pillbox section of the shroud, and it's takes a little bit more to press that than the other side, so I wanted that to be the auxiliary button. And then of course over here you have right here your power button. So if you could see that right there, you can see those 2 magnets on it. One magnet is glued to the actual tactile switch, and the top magnet is what will come off obviously and get glued onto the button that's currently missing. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to leave that on there so it doesn't get lost. All right, but we'll come over here and flip the kill switch.
I needed to see it. I needed you to see it. Who you are.
Right. Now that the saber's on, we can go ahead and assemble it. All right. So what we want to do is first take the shroud, put the shroud on, and then we can come over here and we can put the handle on. You'll notice this little notch there in the handle. That notch aligns with the pillbox. All right, so we'll slide all that on and come over here and tighten it up. Now I'm going to tighten it up first because it's hard to do two things at once. So I'm going to tighten it up, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about what order these need to be tightened up in. So I got all those tightened up. I'll come over here and I'll take my red wire and I'll go ahead and I'll put it back in that clip. Right? Just like that. I can tuck this wire in here. Now everything is good to go. So what I did when I put those 3 screws back in is the very first screw I put in is the one right here next to the pillbox. Tighten that first, and then you can work your way around and do the other 2. That way it doesn't throw off the alignment of the pillbox button, all right? Because if you were to do the opposite side first, the pillbox wouldn't work. The bottom button of the pillbox is what's your actual auxiliary switch. This one's up here just for show. And then, of course, you've got your power back here that I'll use this tool for right now because the button's missing. All right, so I'll come over here and hit the power. So all the LEDs are firing up. Very loud saber, sounds really good. Auxiliary. Now you can see that works very well. Blade lockup. And then you can twist off. I do have that on a delayed ignition for the Quillian. So if I were to turn on one more time, you'll notice your main blade fires up first and then your side blade. Just like that. And then twist off. The rest of the fonts on here are the stock font package. We'll go ahead. I'm not going to tighten these blades down. What I'm going to do is I'll just put the main blade in and show you that it fires up. I did leave the small retention screw that was originally in there right here. If you can see that. If it wants to focus, maybe. I don't think it wants to focus on that. But it's right here. I went ahead and I left that in there so there wasn't a hole and there wasn't any shine through. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll throw this in. Pop this on. You can see lights up everything. Just tapping for blade or for blaster bolt deflects, or holding down the aux and hitting the saber for blade lockup. Right here. And it'll stay like that until you let go of it. Now we can take a 7/8 inch blade and try to put it in here. It is a super tight fit. And then you can see how it only lights up to this, because I think I have each of these side blades set at about 28 pixels, just long enough for a Quillian. So of course it's not going to light up the rest of a full length blade, right? So you got that side that lights up. I'll take that out. Switch it over to the other side. And that lights up the same way. So 28 pixels over here for this Quillian as well, right? I know that's kind of goofy. I don't have any side blades to light these up. I really just trying to show you that that these work and then how many pixels these are set to off to the side. So one thing I did do also when installing these, the first thing I actually did a live stream where I worked on all 3 of these. But I took the Quillians off, put some Loctite on the bolts, and then bolted everything back together. So these are nice and tight. But if your side blades are going in there super snug, you might sand them. But even if you don't sand them, when you go to twist them in, just twist them like you're, just go to the right, So righty-tighty. You can go to the right when twist them in. Also go to the right when pulling them out so that you don't stress the Loctite that I put in there. I did bolt these down as hard as I could, but I have had an issue in the past one time where one of these came loose and I had to take it all apart and do that again. So that's just something to watch out for. I don't think you'll have a problem with it because all three of these have been securely Loctited down, but I just wanted to mention it. All right, and then we can go into the stock font package by just hitting auxiliary.
TNC.
TNC. Again, use the tool here to turn it on. You held it upside down and hit auxiliary.
Wherever you are hard to find.
Brings you back down into the menu so that I could show you how to play your soundtrack. It's a long press on the power. Just like that. And it's the same thing to turn it it'd be another long press. Just like that to turn it off. All right. And that's pretty much the Kylo or the Darkness V3. So what I'm going to do is I'll just break it back down now off camera. I am going to leave the batteries in there for shipment. I'm just going to flip the kill switch so that it's not draining the battery, obviously. And if you guys got any questions, let me know. And if not, I'll get these packaged up today and then hopefully out in the mail by tomorrow. All right. Phillip, I might keep yours until your side blades come just so that I can make sure the fitment is correct. All right. Thank you.